pandemic brought about different working scenarios than many companies have experienced in the past. And along with these changes came the responsibility of making sure labor laws are still being followed by your employees. This isn't as easy when they're working from home, but it's imperative to remind employees to follow your workplace rules and labor laws, whether in your physical location or off site. One federal regulation to monitor is the Fair Labor Standards Act, also known as the FLSA, which specifies minimum wage and overtime requirements. Keep in mind that many states have more stringent laws, so make sure you're following the one that's most beneficial to your workers. One of the main FLSA violations is the misclassification of workers as exempt from overtime, when in fact they are subject to overtime rules. Just because someone is paid a salary doesn't mean that you don't track or pay overtime when it's worked. To be exempt from overtime, the workers must fall into specific exemptions and meet the salary and duties tests. Employees must be paid at least $684 per week to meet the minimum salary requirement, and their daily tasks must fall under one of three exemptions: executive, administrative, or outside sales. Executives include managers who direct at least two workers and supervise the operations of the company. Administrative employees generally perform office work and exercise discretion on major business matters. Outside salespeople must spend the majority of their workday away from the office making sales calls. Another issue to monitor is off the clock work. This is when an employee performs tasks prior to clocking in or after punching out for the day. This can happen in businesses where prep is required prior to being on the sales floor or cleaning equipment after a shift has ended. Or maybe an employee who just wants to check email to see if there's anything important, but their scheduled work hours were finished earlier. If the employee is required to do any work before or after their typical shift, be sure to schedule this as on the clock time and compensate your employees correctly. Be sure to remind remote workers to only do tasks during the time they're actually clocked in. Meal and rest periods are another area of compliance that can sometimes be overlooked. Again, make sure you're following the most stringent requirements in your location. Although federal law does not mandate these breaks, many states have very specific guidelines to follow. When required, rest breaks are paid. However, meal breaks are generally not compensable unless the employee is not fully relieved of their duties. Be sure to see what legislation has recently taken effect in your state to remain up to date with new regulations. There have been a lot of changes, and more are expected in the upcoming months on the state and federal level. If you're unsure how these laws apply to your business, be sure to reach out to a human resources advisor or an attorney to protect you and your workers. If you have any questions or need to reach us, our business is Affordable Bookkeeping and Payroll, and we can be reached at 310-534-5577, contact at abandp.com, and our website is affordablebookkeepingandpayroll.com or www.abandp.com for short.